Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. This is Candace Marie. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Welcome to the Saturday Night Live show. Super stoked. We're going to be doing some readings. We're going to be doing some tarot readings today. Happy Saturday, first of all. I hope you guys are having a good one. Those of you guys who are new to my channel, we alternate, so every other Saturday we do either live tarot or astrology. It's tarot tonight. Here's your QR code right underneath the pumpkins, somewhere over here. If you scan the QR code, it's going to take you to my PayPal where you can make a donation. So it's ask any question you want, $20 for one card, $40 for 3 cards. And we're going to take our level 3 members first. So just looking at this list, let me see who I got here. If you are, well, first of all, if you're any level subscriber, thank you for, or member, thank you for being a member. Claudia, Deanna, Paula, Lisette, Stephanie, Angela, Maui, Flowing Through the Pines, Willow, Steve, Emma, Susan, Miss Fogel, Jackie, Hera, Nancy, Jessica, and Susan Wexler. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. I just want to give you a shout out. This is the very first Saturday of the month of October. So for those of you guys who are level 3, if you'd like to cash in on your reading and you want to get your reading now, you can. Or those of you guys who want to support my YouTube, I'm putting out so much content. It's like crazy. I've been working on this really hard this year. We've got now horoscopes that are here because of support. I can do like 3 hours a month. So if you guys haven't seen those, they're already out for October. We're doing webinars. We're putting out content every other day. I want to keep creating more content for you guys, really shifting more into educating and teaching. So your guys' donations, your lives, that you show up and, you know, you guys make donations during. It makes it possible for me to do that. So big thank you. And if there aren't any level 3 people, then you can join level 3 if you want, or you can just donate and get a reading outright and ask whatever you'd like. We've got a couple people who are already in the queue. Let's see. So we have... Selimar, I'm sure I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, so I apologize. Selma, she is in the queue for a reading. You're actually the first one. And then we also have Crystal. So you guys are the only 2 people who are up. If you guys want to get a reading, let me know. We're probably going to be here for about an hour or until we've gone through everybody, and then we'll move on to tarot next week. Okay, so let's start with Selma. And if your name differs on PayPal versus on YouTube, just let me know. Sometimes you guys have different screen names, so I don't know who's who. Selma's a Cancer, and she says, can I get a general for the month of October in terms of what I need to know most? Good question. We'll talk Astro and Tarot. So if you're a Cancer, one of the biggest themes is that there's a ton of planets that are going through your 10th house of career. So it's putting an emphasis on career, partnerships out in the workspace, all that stuff. And you also have tons of planets. Excuse me, there is a full moon in your 10th house of career. There's tons of planets going through your 4th house. I'm thinking of Capricorn. So you've had a Mercury retrograde wrapping up in your 4th. You've got planets going through your 4th, home, family dynamics, relationships with family members, all with a full moon in about a week in your 10th house. So you're going to see room for growth, but stress and kind of tension going on between your home front and also career, okay? So watch for that full moon in about a week in your 10th house for big changes in regards to your professional life. But let's see what the cards have to say for you. All right, so we have the 8 of Wands, 8 of Swords, King of Swords. 2 8s, huh? So like lots of like changes in the air, especially referencing anything in regards to fire and air elements, okay? So we're in Libra season now. Tons of planets are moving through Libra. We're going to have Mercury, the Sun, Venus are all going to go through there. We got Jupiter and Aries. So I think it's actually the back and forth between like, okay, things are changing very quickly. Like you may be finding that your focus or your direction or like your strategy in some ways like shifting. Eight of Wands is like picking a lane and then going full blast in that direction, like pedal to the metal. You want to look for increments of 8, so it can be 8 days, 8 weeks, like the 8th month just completed recently, so you might want to be looking at things that maybe you initiated in August. But this is putting all of your energy in one direction and kind of pulling the bow and arrow and then shooting it. There may be anxiety going on about how fast change is happening. 8 of Swords coming up. Interesting, 2 8s together form a 7. So it's talking about like trying to kind of cut through the fog, having more clarity about what direction your life is going in, addressing problems and issues head on, and not being in a situation where you're just sitting there like not wanting to look at issues or like, you know, keeping the blindfold on basically. 8 of Swords, I always tell my clients, like this is a card that comes up when you're like, I don't see my way out of the situation, or it's not possible for me to change this, or I don't know how I'm going to move. Like there is something that is holding you back, but it's just purely mental. It's not physical, right? Because this is a card that's saying like things are actually flowing, but the mindset, the communication, the way that you're looking at changes can be kind of stressful. So there's like more of a need to communicate and express if changes are coming too quickly, if you're afraid to make a change or shift directions. 8 of Swords is also a situation you can get yourself out of. So if you've been stressed out about anything in regards to having conversations with people, addressing something, you know, making a change of mind, like it is possible for you to have this shift. It's just going to take your mindset. Followed by the King of Swords. So interesting, it's like things change very quickly. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle this. This seems kind of scary. How am I going to adjust? And then the King of Swords is somebody who comes in and communicates with you very clearly, or a mastering of something. So when court cards come up, it can be a person who shows up into your life. So it can be the King of Swords. So it can be a Libra, or it can be an Aquarius, or it can be a Gemini. It can also be talking about you, that you're finally kind of getting to the point where you're like, I can't hold back anymore. I can't be afraid of having conversations. I can't be afraid of change. There is a need for me to just address, you know, the elephant in the room, or like say what you need to say. Mastering the art of information, communication, contracts, talking to people. The King of Swords is somebody like when he talks, people listen. And he's different than the other kings because he has a sense of intelligence and clear confidence with how he relates the information or relays information to other people. So if you've been hesitating to have a conversation with a man, likely it's saying that, you know, the momentum is going to build until you finally have this back and forth. If it's a situation where this is about you finally getting out of your own way and kind of shifting the energy a little bit and feeling more confident in being able to talk about things, address things, stuff like that. Air also deals with like socializing. So this can be like, okay, you know, if I haven't heard from somebody, do I reach out? If they don't call me back, you know, what does it mean? Or, you know, do I follow up in regards to the job? Like something like that can be coming up this month to really, you know, pay attention. And it's about rising to the occasion, overcoming fear, and being able to make a statement. So knowing that you're a Cancer and you've got a full moon that's going to be, you know, basically 10th house to your sun, it is saying that there is a need to be like, surprise, this is what I'm announcing to the world, right? And maybe you've been afraid to do that. Maybe there's been some concern, but all of the energy is pushing you in the direction of like really saying something and being willing to overcome fear of like being able to end old patterns. Okay, so stress, anxiety, all of that stuff. 8s are always about transformation, energetic transformation, mental transformation. When you are experiencing stress or anxiety, if that's coming up for you, I just got to think like Mars is 12th house to your sun as well. There can be a lot of alone time, and I'm wondering like, does it make sense for you to go to like a health spa, or to be, you know, working out by yourself, or writing by yourself, or doing something creatively by yourself, so you have an outlet to kind of work through some of this stuff and be able to kind of feel like you can get creativity flowing or kind of get moving, so you can burn off some of this tension or anxiety. When opportunities present itself, I'm going to assume also maybe it's going to be like when you see Mercury trines or when you see fire trines happening this month. So you're going to see like Mercury is going to come back into Libra. You know, Mercury right now is in a trine with Pluto, but when it does come into Libra, it will trine and make positive aspects to Saturn. So that can be a time when you get real serious about something, what needs to change, what you need to address. Okay. Good luck. What's up, Nancy? I got you. Hey, Jessry. You are more than welcome to get a reading. I'm happy to do a reading. It's just by donation. I've got Nancy, and then I will take Crystal. What's up, Nancy? What can I tell you? Thanks for joining us. Love reading. You got it. All right, so we have the Six of Wands, the Nine of Coins, and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So pretty positive cards, to be honest with you. We've got a major popping up, which is kind of capping off this reading. So it's talking about things changing, fortunate events taking place, positive things that might involve like a turn of fate with people, fate playing a role in meeting people. Travel even. This is a card that deals with Jupiter. So remind me, what's your rising sign? Where is Aries for you right now? That's what I'm wondering, because this can be talking about Jupiter transits. Six of Wands, being well received. Can be about going and visiting a place or going back to a place or reconnecting with people and a warm welcoming. Okay, Pisces rising. Okay. So Jupiter is going back and forth, whole sign-wise, between your second and your first. It's retrograding back to your first. So there's going to be more good luck. There's going to be more opportunities, more optimism, more opportunities for travel. But Six of Wands is like the victory card, right? So it's like whatever situation you're going into in regards to relationships, being victorious, people being open to your offers. So if you're like, do you want to get together? Do you want to do something? People are going to be like, yeah, let's do it. Like you're going to have people who are going to be super, super receptive to whatever it is that you're proposing. But if you're going back to a person, back to a situation, back to a place, pay attention to that because this seems to be really significant. Wands are always about creative energy, passion, anything in regards to collaboration. Sixes can also kind of refer to divine timing and like timing kind of coming together where you're at the right time in the right place. Nine of Coins, really sitting in a situation where you're feeling very confident, feeling yourself, giving yourself what you need. It's silly because none of these cards are really coming up with any like relationship type things. But when I put the Six of Wands with the Nine of Coins and the Wheel of Fortune, it's saying relationship opportunities strike when you're not looking for it. When you're like traveling, having a good time, treating yourself, like really feeling taken care of and nurturing yourself. Because the Nine of Coins is about spoiling yourself. She's like a kept woman. She's got money. She's financially responsible. She can buy herself things, take herself out on dates, like whatever. So this could be a situation where when you're out and about, really treating yourself and focused on enjoying the environment, going and doing a fun activity. There is an opportunity for you to be able to connect with somebody. Wheel of Fortune. This is also a card that sometimes I see comes up during like retrogrades, especially like Mercury retrogrades, because we have Hermes here in this card. So it talks about like serendipitous opportunities. It can be insights, intuitive things, readings, anything like that, that gives you like some insight into what could be coming. So it's kind of teasing you a little bit, saying like, oh, something is definitely coming your way. You've had this Mercury retrograde going on in your 7th house. And so I'm wondering if this is what this is referencing, that if you really needed to wrap up any loose ends that you had with other people, or if there was a sense of closing doors so you can open new ones, Mercury can be coming in and basically saying, okay, great, you've learned to kind of prioritize yourself, put yourself first, focus on yourself. Now we can give you, you know, the pass go, collect $200, opportunity to meet someone new. This card also talks about the fixed parts of the year. So it does highlight when we are in Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo season. So it can be talking about come the turn of this next wheel when we get into Scorpio season. We're having eclipses in Scorpio, okay? So knowing that you're a Pisces rising, eclipses in your 9th house is about good luck. It's about travel. It's about education. It's about fortune, fortunate events and things that might come your way. We also have this full moon that's going to be coming pretty soon. That's going to be in Aries. So it's going to be taking place in your 2nd house, helping you build on your self-esteem and really focus on kind of building yourself back up and feeling like you're complete. And I have a feeling that what these cards are saying is that when you're in a situation where you're like, I don't really care if somebody comes or goes, like I'm fine either way, it's going to be like, boom, that's when the magic happens. And take time to go out and do things by yourself. Like I think with the 9 of Coins coming up with the 6 of Wands, if there's an event you want to go to, but you don't have anyone to go with, if there's like a movie you want to see, if there's like if there's something going on socially that you have to go and do and you're like, I don't have anyone to go, it's totally fine going on your own, because that may actually be when fate kind of steps in and you have connections to other people. But victory kind of comes to mind with this card, and there is some sense of celebrating like a homecoming, or the fact that you're returning or that you're coming back. So if you haven't heard from anybody from the past, if there hasn't been any reconnections from the past, then it's definitely about you making the decision to go and choose happiness, choose yourself, choosing things that are going to make you happy, even if that means going and doing it by yourself, because you may find that you're putting yourself in situations where you don't know anybody, you can't rely on anybody, so you have to actually socialize and get out and kind of talk to people. And as you're carrying yourself in a way where you're like, I'm having a really good time, I'm on my own, people are going to see that and they're going to be kind of drawn to that and attracted to that. Okay. Look for increments, obviously, of 6, and I think more is probably going to be happening right around those eclipses. Obviously, you know, as a Pisces rising also, you know, Jupiter retrograding back into your 7th house is a big deal. Whole sign-wise, it's going to go back into your 7th house. It'll be there for 2 months. Jupiter is associated with Wheel of Fortune or Sagittarius, so I'm thinking like somewhere around Scorpio season is when you're probably going to see a shift. Because Jupiter's there, because you're going to have a lot of planets in Scorpio, they're all going to be making trines or other aspects to your ascendant. So I'm wondering, do you meet somebody who's traveling? Do you meet somebody who's just kind of passing through and then you have this chance connection? That's something else that could happen here as well. Okay. Good luck, Nancy. Exciting cards. Those of you guys who are just tuning in, if you want to get a reading, it's by donation. So you can scan the QR code if you'd like to get a reading, and we'll get you in the queue. Okay, we've got Crystal. Crystal, you're very welcome. Crystal says, what is the message for me in the month of October? Well, let's take a look. All right, Crystal, 5 of Wands is your card. Get ready for a bit of a challenge. Okay, so 5 of Wands comes up, obviously kind of a chaotic energy, right? You see all of these people, they're kind of going at it. They've got their wands up in the air. They're throwing it at each other. Basically, this card talks about like an upheaval or like some kind of like a combative situation. I think this is fair to say just across the board, you know, like you'll see, if you guys watch my videos for October or the one that I'll put out tomorrow, I talk about like the next two weeks being nice. It's about working together with other people, communicating and being able to kind of be a part of a team effort. As you go into October, there are some challenges that you're going to deal with that literally involve other people, right? 5's about kind of that steepest part of the mountain that you're climbing up, trying to also defend yourself. There may be some situations where there's like conflict and like defensiveness and like needing to stand up for yourself. But Wands are about passion. So I'm wondering, before we get to the 6 of Wands, which is going to be about overcoming and being victorious, what it is that you have to overcome, and if it's worth actually getting into it with some of these people, if it's a good idea for you to be going back and forth and arguing with them. I know in the end, even though it seems chaotic, you're going to be able to push through it, but be mindful that there are going to be some individuals that are going to challenge you this month. I think of like, you know, probably this is the Mars energy. Mars is associated with the wands and any of the fire signs really. But this is about like finding ways to be able to overcome challenges also that you don't see coming, right? Because Mars is going to be in square to Neptune. So depending on your sign, this is like saying like there are going to be things that are going to kind of catch you off guard, that are going to come out of nowhere. And it's about standing guard, being prepared, being ready. But also I think this is about knowing like which battles do you want to fight? Like who do you really want to go back and forth with? Is it really worth the drama or the arguments? For some of us, the Saturn-Uranus squares that are returning right now are also like bringing up some kind of conflict where we feel like we're between a rock and a hard place. For some of us, we won't really see that pan out until closer to November as we're kind of in mid-month. But right now, oh, there you are. Sorry to see here. Sag rising. Okay. So you got the Mercury retrograde in your 10th, you've got, you know, Mars in your 7th, so you are dealing with combative individuals, and you've got the oppositions to Neptune. I see this as things that are coming out of the blue that you didn't really see at work, because Mars is connected to Mercury. It's in a mercurial sign. This may be like having to stand up for your position. This may be having to stand your ground. This may be just like a very competitive type environment that you're working in, where there can be some people that can be a little bit more combative. You'll come through. You'll actually really see that the other side of some of these transits, especially when you get to like mid-October, when you've got loaded planets in Libra and it's all trining your Mars and it's also trining your third house, you're going to be like, that was worth the effort, right? That was a challenge, but like I got through it. And like now we can celebrate that it's like all done and I've completed something. So whatever it is that you're completing, whether this has been on the professional sphere or the relationship sphere, like you're going to overcome it. But it's impossible when you have Mars going through your 7th house that you don't go toe-to-toe in some way with other people. And it's not always physical like this card shows you. Sometimes it's literally just being in like an intense environment and like knowing how to like deal with people around you that are like kind of on edge, you know, if that makes sense. So good luck for the month of October. Hopefully that goes well. Like I said, that 6 of Wands is the next card. So it's about overcoming it, but not without some challenges or obstacles. Hope that's helpful. Thanks, Elb and Adriana. I got you guys. I will check that. I have got Erica. You're welcome. Erica says, well, let's see. There is no question. So what is your question, Erica? Let me know. When you guys make your donation, you can ask me your question in the memo. Love reading. All right, I got you. So let us take a look. And then Adriana, you're on deck. So just let me know what your question is. All right, so this is going to be a love reading for you. And let's see what the cards have to say about love. Everybody wants to know about love. It must be Libra season. All right, so this is going to be the first reading for Erica. Well, this is a good one. The Empress, 7 of coins and 2 of cups. Well, this takes me back to like when I was first like starting to learn tarot, and something that always stuck with me is that my tarot teacher was like, yeah, the Empress coming up with the 7 of Pentacles is like, you know, sometimes that can be unexpected pregnancy, so be careful here. Major, starting off with a major. So the Empress, Venus, relationships, nurturing, taking care of something. I really feel like if I'm reading for a woman, like when the Empress is coming up, it might be talking about you personally, and that you're in a state of wanting to bring more love and more harmony and more peace into your life. Thinking about relationships, but also like what are you giving life to? What are you creating? What about your senses? Are you feeling totally fulfilled? It's a positive card. it shines a light more on the conscious side of the feminine energy, opposite of the High Priestess. This is what I'm aware of, what I'm growing, what I value. Really positive card. It does have connections to mothers or motherhood. It can be talking about getting a lot of support from women and like really being in a position of thinking about how you can bring something full circle. So if you're asking questions about relationships, am I going to meet someone, you know, or is it going to go the distance? I mean, the Empress card is telling me that you have to really focus on where you're looking for growth in your life right now. What do you want, right? Are you hoping to fulfill a goal to be a mother or to be a wife, right? If not, then it's saying, how are you nurturing and taking care of yourself? And how is this an important part of being able to bring in somebody who's a vibrational match, okay? But still look for women who can be really helpful in the midst of what's going on right now. The Empress knows her worth, and that's what's really important about this card. She's not chasing after somebody. She's not, you know, reaching out to somebody. She's just kind of like, no, I know that I am worth it. I know that the right person will kind of meet me halfway, and she stays in her lane. She's not going to chase anyone. Seven of Coins. It's kind of like, is my garden going to grow, right? You see him standing there. He's looking at all of the coins. He's like looking at the hard work. In the olden days, obviously, we relied on our crops, right? We needed to know that the seeds that we were planting were going to be fruitful, so we were going to have food for the next season. So when this card comes up, it's like you looking at a situation saying, like, is this going to pan out? Is this a good idea? Am I wasting my time? You know, am I wasting my time hoping that somebody's going to show up? Am I wasting my time in a current relationship? Is there a sense of you giving too much time or focus or effort to something? Right now, I think this is a period of like reflecting. So depending on where you're at with your relationships, it can be like, am I wasting too much time to fulfill some of these desires, right? Am I sitting around waiting? Am I putting all my eggs in one basket, hoping that that person is going to fulfill what I'm hoping to achieve in regards to relationships? The final card is the Two of Cups. So this is kind of cool because it's saying that through the act of knowing your worth, working with that regularly, expecting other people to meet you halfway, not going above and beyond and giving too much time or too much energy, and sitting back and waiting and seeing how other people behave, you get the Two of Cups. So this is like a relationship. So if you're wondering, like, am I gonna, you know, meet somebody and get into a relationship? Yes, in due time. When you start realizing that it's not about whether or not you have a partner or whether or not you're with a partner, it's more like, okay, are they gonna treat you the way that you deserve to be treated? Are you being kind to yourself? And when you are, you're gonna bring someone in who's a vibrational match. This can also be thinking about timing in regards to relationships. So if you're in a relationship, it can be like, we've been together for X amount of time. Where is this going? What are we doing? I've got something on my mind in terms of what I want to achieve. Like, you know, is this going to be a good match? A relationship reading or a love reading ending with the Two of Cups is generally pretty positive. It's kind of saying, if you're single, somebody's coming in, you're getting ready to connect with somebody who may be worth your time and effort. But you may have had to make some difficult decisions or put yourself first in order to create space for that person to come in and X other people out. If you're in a relationship, it's basically saying there is a need to kind of talk with a partner, connect with them about what your timing is, what your goals are, if you're starting to think about wanting to have a kid. I say that because the Empress deals with like pregnancy and life. So I don't know if this is about moving to the next phase of commitment or if this is about actually making decisions in regards to that stuff in your future. But when the Two of Cups comes together, it's the relationship card. It's the partner card. It's somebody who shows up and it was worth waiting for, somebody who you're going to realize was kind of the result of a lot of hard work and self-preservation and focusing on putting yourself first before that person comes into your life. Generally, when we're looking at timing with this, it's saying that it's something that's going to come in, you know, by about spring of next year. This is kind of like my springtime card. Can take up to 7 months with the Seven of Coins, but I think it's also talking about you being in a position right now where you're willing to focus more on where you want to be maybe this time next year, right? Around the spring next year, which is initiating you or making you start thinking about how you're spending your time when it comes to other people. Because quite frankly, if you're going through the dating cycle right now, you're dating people, it can be a lot of like, I have a goal in mind. I don't want to spend 3 years getting to know somebody and seeing if it's going to work. It's like telling people flat out, this is what I value, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for, and I kind of have a plan for my life, you know, are you with it or not? In a nicer way, obviously, but the Two of Cups is like, you're going to find people who are going to be like, no, of course I want to do that with you. Like, you're not asking for too much, or like, that sounds like a plan. Like, let's do it. So it's really positive when it comes to relationships, but it's also saying it's about being mindful of your time and your energy and how much time you're putting into some of them, rather than hoping, oh, we've been together for 3 years, so everything's going to work out, or I don't want to leave the relationship because we've been together for so long. No, it's what are other people doing to meet you halfway, and how are you communicating and sharing your values, your need, your worth, so you don't feel like you're worrying or you don't feel like you're wasting time. Okay? Good luck. We've got another love reading, and this is for Adriana. Followed by Michelle, and then we got Brandon. All right, Adriana, here is a love reading for you. All right, Adriana, you guys both got really great cards. The Sun, the Seven of Wands, the Ten of Cups. Thank you. Challenges that are going to be overcome, like getting to a point where like the sun is coming out. I mean, you've got two of the better cards in the deck, right? The Sun card is happiness, joy, creativity, highlighting something, showing you something. This also can be a card about children. And then you got the Ten of Cups, happily ever after, celebrating, being with your significant other, partners, family, love, all that stuff. So good news basically in the love department. The sun makes me wonder, like, you know, the sun's going through Libra right now. So if you know your chart, take a look at where Libra is. It can also be talking about getting in touch with like your inner romantic, your inner creative, your inner child, wanting to have more fun, wanting to have more romance, and just like really shining a light on that, right? Over the next several weeks. The Sun card can come up when we become aware of something, and something that is about our happiness. It's about our self-expression. It can also be about masculine figures. Okay, so you're Libra rising, so you have got, you know, the sun going through your ascendant, so you're more illuminated, you're gonna have more energy, you're gonna have more visibility. You have got Venus in your sign right now. I mean, I'm being a Libra rising, I don't know if you've seen my lives, but this is like the Libra rising den. We all hang out here. Libra rising support group. It's a really good time to be a Libra rising. You got your chart ruler and you got the sun in your sign. So it's about you and really showing your energy and just really feeling yourself right now. However, this can also be about children, and you got Saturn in your 5th house. So all these planets in your ascendant are trining your 5th house, which is, you know, am I happy? Do I love myself? Do I want to date again? Do I want to have children? How do I express myself? Like, these are all things that are going on. I think the Seven of Wands being sandwiched in the middle is like really being adamant that you're not going to give up on the dream, right? Ten of Cups. It's like, no, it has to be this or better, right? It's about not negotiating what you're hoping to achieve when it comes to your happily ever after. Really challenging, I think, because the Seven of Wands talks about like having to stand your ground and being like, I'm not willing to back down, or I'm not willing to accept less, or I'm not willing to lower my standards. There can also be a sense of being very protective and very reactionary right now with your energy, right? With anything in regards to your happiness. So if you feel like people are coming into your life that are challenging that, or they're making it about them, buckle up, because you're going to see on the full moon that's coming next Sunday, it'll be in Aries. For Libra risings, it's dicey. You're going to see a full moon that's going to be in conjunction to Chiron. So this is telling me within a week, 7 days-ish, There could be a situation where you're like, nope, that doesn't feel good. I don't like this, you know, or nope, that doesn't work for me, or this doesn't make me happy. In the end, whatever it is that you're standing up for, or you're protecting, or you're focusing on, it does seem like it comes out okay. It does more than okay. It's going to be great. I wonder, do you already have a kid? Because Saturn, Seven of Wands can be like you being like, I'm defending my child. Now, it could be your inner child. Maybe you've done inner child work and you're like, I'm not going to let somebody affect me that way again. But if you have a kid, because the sun is coming up, I'm wondering, is this you being like, I want to protect my child, or I'm protecting my relationship, or I'm protecting my heart? Because you see he's standing there kind of like, you know, like defensively, like he's got a wand in his hand, like he's ready to just totally like kick somebody's butt with this wand because he doesn't want them getting any closer. So you're either very much protecting a child, an inner child, a dream, your heart space, and you're like, no, I'm not letting anybody disrupt my peace or disrupt my happiness. I'm not willing to kind of scale back or take less than, because I know in the end, this is what I want. This is what I deserve. This is what's going to make me happiest. So if you're going through a difficult time right now and you're having to kind of face some challenges in regards to other people, it's about remembering the end goal, and that in the end, you're going to get exactly what you want. It's just really important for you while you're going through a difficult moment or a period where you're having to kind of be protective and kind of take a step back. Don't let people disrupt your peace, right? Don't let people disrupt your peace, and it will be fine. You will see that this will kind of pan out. Things are going to get a lot easier, I think, right around mid-month. And maybe you have found with Venus in your sign, you're more diplomatic. You know, it's going to trine Saturn, so you can express why you're behaving the way that you're behaving because you're not willing to let somebody hurt you again. And I also think that the sun is highlighting where it's okay for you to stand up a little bit. Like, you know, and not be afraid of rejection, because I think the full moon in Aries for Libra rising can be about rejection that you have from other people. No kids, but I'm feeling protective of my peace. Yeah, well, you kind of have to be, unfortunately. You've got squares also that are going on to Neptune. So there is a need to not get too involved in other people's stuff. Otherwise, it can be really emotionally draining and overwhelming. But look for change to be happening over the next 7 days, 7 weeks. I think it's 7 days, literally, to today when we have this full moon. And I also feel like look for connections with warmer individuals. They might have like a Leo sun, moon or rising. It can be somebody who's also just like very radiant. People who are just very drawn to you might come in. And the 10 of Cups is about being able to like celebrate and have a good time and have peace within the home and within the family. So it is saying that this is the direction that things are going in, but sometimes in order to have peace, we have to have war. That's the dynamic between Libra and Aries. Is it can't be all butterflies and rainbows and Venus land for Libra all the time. There has to be that friction from Aries. But sometimes, in some situations, if you disrupt a Libra's peace, they're going to get kind of confrontational and they're going to stand up for themselves. And so right now, whatever you're feeling the need to protect that, and that's going to help bring happiness and more clarity in regards to your relationships. Okay? Hey, Angeli. What's up? So I have got Michelle and then Brandon and then Angeli. You're welcome. Let's see what Michelle has to say. Live reading. What would you like to know? Let me know. If you guys can put that in the memo, it's helpful. So Michelle wants to get a reading. Brandon says outlook for December. Angeli about Jonathan. Okay. Just a general for October. Okay, Michelle, you got it. If you guys are just tuning in, you want to get a reading, scan the QR code before we call last call. We'll probably be here for another 15 minutes. So if you want to get the reading, you can get in there. So this is going to be for Michelle for the month of October. Seven of Wands, again, Temperance, Two of Swords. Okay, so overcoming odds, obviously. Challenges to find balance. To me, it seems like maybe you're going back and forth with making a decision. You know, the Temperance coming up in the middle is talking about timing and healing and like letting things come together in their own time. And maybe you're feeling like you don't want to be rushed. Like there is a sense of you being like, you know, I'm going to get combative if somebody tries to rush my healing process, or they try to force me into making amends, or, you know, accepting somebody's apology. Like there's a sense of you not wanting that. Six of Wands with Temperance is also talking about like healing after what's been like a rocky time or a combative time. Temperance has connections to healings, doctors, therapists, even people who give you like readings in general, who can help you kind of find the balance. And this is talking about timing in some way. Timing before making a decision, not rushing into things. You know, better kind of sitting with things and thinking about it before feeling like you have to just immediately make a move or give somebody an answer. I think Temperance being in the center is also saying that like there are certain things that are falling into place right now, that you're waiting for other things to kind of come together. And maybe you're feeling like you're having to kind of push things and kind of get things going right now and being more active or proactive. But you're waiting on other people, you're waiting on other situations to kind of come about. One thing I like about this card also is that it does talk about being tuned in emotionally and intuitively and knowing that there are situations that are getting reborn, okay? You've got the dawn that's happening in the background. You've got the foot in the water and also on the ground, so you're grounded, but you're kind of listening to your intuition. You've got the daffodils that are a sign of new life and regeneration. So this is some sign that something is growing, something's taking time, but you can't rush the process, whatever it is. That there does need to be a sense of other elements coming together before you move forward. Two of Swords can be talking about feeling stuck, like do I go left or right? Like you might find yourself at a fork in the road and feel like, okay, it's not time yet, but I'm not ready yet. And the universe is like, no, it's time for you to kind of like get going, like go on, like get on with it, you know? And you may feel stressed about 2 weeks into October and finally pulling the trigger in something, and you may not feel like you're ready. Something I would also say is with like the Seven of Wands and the Temperance, this can talk about physical healing. So if you're somebody who is clumsy, or if you're somebody who is more physically active, be mindful that you can be more accident prone, right? You see him standing up at the top and he's got, you know, he's trying to get a stance, but also like he's trying to kind of hold people back. So I have seen some situations where these cards come up together where somebody has like an accident, or, you know, they end up injuring themselves while they're working out, and then it takes longer for them to kind of bounce back and rebuttal. And this Two of Swords can be talking about the anxiousness or the anxiety related to a healing process. Or maybe you feel like you just need more time. Maybe if you're going back and forth with somebody this month and you're like, I'm not ready to talk to them yet. I need some space. Like, don't push me. Like, if you let me mull this over and think this through and give me time, I'll come back to you and give you an answer. But if you rush me, it's going to end up being a situation that is possibly going to be kind of combative. I'm not surprised with this card coming up several times. This has come up a lot for me the last week with clients, of people feeling like they need to stand their ground and that they're not going to back down. And if you're seeing resistance in your body, at work, with your creative projects, if you're seeing resistance with your energy, take time to kind of relax and recuperate, because Temperance is saying like there's no sense in pushing something if other elements aren't ready yet in order to bring this full circle, and that there is an element of healing that's going to be going on for you in the month of October. You will need moments of silence and contemplation, like you're going to need to like think things over or have a little bit of peace or be able to come to terms with things on your own, you know, by yourself. And I would say give yourself that time to think things over, especially if you're feeling anxious. It's okay to remind yourself that you can take more time, okay? Hopefully that's helpful for you. Brandon wants to know what's going on in December. What's up, Brandon? Judgment. Having to make some big decisions. Do I stay or do I go? Although Judgment is a card that is more so associated with decisions that come about as a result of karmic law and effect. So if you're familiar with the tarot, like I'm sure you are, Justice more talks about like decisions that are being made. It's like cause and effect, right? So Justice is like, okay, there's something karmically going on here, and Judgment's like, this is the repercussion. So repercussion of past behavior, some major realization. Like there can be a huge breakthrough with Judgment because we see Gabriel coming in and the horn, and he's, you know, basically relaying some message to people, you know, saying, okay, you've been saved, you can come back. But this can also be about like a feeling of, I've had an epiphany and now I'm feeling resurrected. Like I'm coming back to life. Like I'm feeling more kind of tuned in and tapped in. Definitive decisions sometimes come up with Judgment as well. So there can be a sense of you telling somebody, I am doing this, I am moving here, I am starting this job, I have had this kind of realization, and wanting to share it with other people and the effect that it has on others as well. I call this card like the reckoning card. So there can be a sense of if a situation has been coming to a head for some time, boom, it really does kind of come to a head here. From what I remember, you got an Aries rising and a bunch of Taurus in your chart. I'm anticipating this is probably connected to the eclipses. So we've got eclipses that are happening, obviously, in Taurus and Scorpio. I know it's kind of on that cusp of your first going into your second house, but, you know, major things in regards to, I value this, you know, I am buying that, I am living here. It's very physical when you're having the eclipses that are going to be in Taurus. It's very spiritual and emotional when you're having the eclipses in Scorpio. So to me, it almost seems like because of whatever shocking thing that maybe happens during the eclipse at the end of October, there's this epiphany, this realization that you have, probably also with the Uranus transits you're going through right around the mid-November period. Situations also that you thought were dead and buried or done can kind of come back up for review before you finally make a decision and like shut the door and move on to something else. But I would look for these personal epiphanies that are going to be coming up all month long. I mean, December is going to be a really interesting month because there is going to be a brewing Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. We're also going to be seeing that there's going to be a ton of planets in Sagittarius that will be in opposition to Mars retrograde. So whatever we've been fighting, right, just recently since Virgo season, fighting the details, the planning, whatever, as we come into Sagittarius season in December, all like the Sun, Mercury, Venus will all oppose Mars. So we're going to realize the higher purpose, the spiritual purpose, what we're really doing, what we're here to achieve. And I feel like that's going to have some really big breakthrough moments for you. And you're going to realize that there are decisions that you need to make, or things that you've experienced, or things that you have realized. And then there is like no turning back. So real significant decisions are going to be made. That makes sense, right? For Aries placement, because it's going to trine, you know, Jupiter in your sign, and it's also going to make aspects if you have anything in Leo. This is where travel happens. Philosophy kind of takes form. Like we join new belief systems, we travel, we go away and we study something. So big stuff's happening for you then. Good luck. We have got Angeli, and then I've got Marsha. Okay, Angeli. Makes sense for what's happening in December. Well, you'll have to let us know about those insights. Angeli says, asking about Jonathan, who's a Cancer sun. We broke up the relationship, however, we weren't official. He said he doesn't want to commit right now. He wants to be friends. I said yes, but I wasn't ready. And later I got drunk and sent 2 dummy voice messages. What does he think about me now, and will we rekindle our relationship? Sounds like a Mercury retrograde if I ever heard one. Very Mars square Neptune. I got drunk and left you 2 voicemails. I'm not laughing at you. Sometimes the astrology is just so bang on. You have a lot of Pisces in your chart too, right? Thank you, Marsha. All right, so let's see what Jonathan thinks about you after the voice messages, and if there is a chance to rekindle, perhaps. Oh boy, just looking at these cards. My sister-in-law told me if she was him, she would look the other way if she saw me in the grocery store. Okay, so these are the cards that I got. The Ten of Swords, the Temperance card again, and the Hierophant. Well, Ten of Swords is like, well, that happened, you know, like that is very done and over. Yeah, Pisces Sun and Mercury. So you got Neptune somewhere around those placements. You had Mars square it and Mercury oppose it. So it was like, I'm drunk, please, I didn't mean it. And then it squares Neptune, like, what was I thinking? So it's literal. You got two major arcana cards coming up. I'm noticing there's a lot of cards that want to be seen. So Temperance seems to be a theme about people taking their time, letting things kind of play out. Personally, Ten of Swords can be a definitive ending. So it can be kind of like, okay, well, that happened. Like, we have broken up for now. There is no real coming back from this for now. Like, it seems as if he is treating it as like, it's done. You guys have ended it. Temperance is talking about the healing process, and maybe it's like talking about also sometimes Temperance is like sobriety, and that card can come up that's like realizing like, okay, there's a time and place for it. Maybe it wasn't the best time if you were in your feelings and your emotions and you were really disappointed that something didn't play out the way you wanted it to play out, that, you know, you had a couple drinks and then you said something to him. We've all been there. But it's followed up with Hierophant. So this is saying like you're learning new ways to deal with things and give yourself the ability to heal and bounce back and recuperate, and you're like maturing in the process, right? So there's a lesson learned here. I think it's like, well, you know, if something is over, you know, I can be in my feelings, but if I'm drinking a lot and then doing something that may not necessarily be ideal. You know, the Hierophant's judgy. This is like somebody who's like a priest or like a mentor or a doctor or a judge or somebody who's like, that wasn't right. You shouldn't have done that. It's not me saying that. It's the card saying that you've learned, like, I have to find a better way to deal with these emotions or these feelings. And the Hierophant's also talking about like long-term goals in regards to relationships and society. So it's also saying, okay, take a step back. You know, maybe I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second, but if you're looking at the fact that the relationship that wasn't official has now done, and it's over, Temperance is saying it's time to heal and then reflect on, well, what are you looking for? You know, because the Hierophant's a card that does deal with commitment, marriage, long-term. Like, are you looking at this as this is a breakup, or are you looking at this as, cool, so I've realize that this person who I have feelings for doesn't see a future, therefore they're done, and I'm really disappointed and I feel kind of stabbed in the back a little bit because I thought it was going somewhere. Let me balance out and recuperate and rework what my vision is for the future and what I want for commitment. Because if you're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to call it a relationship, is it leading to this, right? It seems to be pretty far off from somebody who's like, I'm looking for a relationship. I want a partner. I want commitment. I want these things. That's what the Hierophant's about. So maybe it's just me. I'm like very like Saturn-like, but like I see breakups as like, cool, got that out of the way. Like, you know, that person clearly wasn't going to be somebody who was looking for what I was looking for. So it's like we kind of cleared that hurdle, back to the drawing board. So right now you're in the drawing board phase. Temperance is like, it can be drinking your feelings. It also can be you going like, I really want to heal and I really want to give myself some time to reflect on what it is that I want. This can be saying if you give it time, right? Temperance can be in a period of time, there can be an opportunity for both parties to get on the same page, but right now, not so much. And the Hierophant does talk about structure and order and things like that moving forward. Like this can also be saying that you can't be in a relationship with somebody where you're having all the benefits of the relationship, hoping that it's going to balance itself out and you guys are going to give each other what you want, and it not have structure. So I think it's also referencing that you're looking for a relationship where there's more structure, there's more commitment. It might be like a little bit more traditional, that maybe it's a matter of giving him some time. And if he has time away from you where he's not hearing from you or he's not connected to you, he's going to realize like, okay, I haven't heard from her for a little bit. Now maybe we can reconnect. But it wouldn't be until down the road. This is talking about like Sag season. And this is also talking about like Taurus season. So those seem to be the two times that that can kind of happen. And in the back of my mind, knowing he's Cancer, you know, there's a full moon that's going on pretty soon in his 10th house of career. He's going to have a Mercury retrograde in December, January for relationships. There is a possibility for like reconciliation, probably come the turn of the year. But I would still think about if you want something that's more Hierophant, kind of committed and traditional, or something that's going to have room to kind of grow into a long-term relationship, is it smart to go back? Because the Ten of Swords is saying you're kind of crushed because of what happened, and Temperance is saying you need time to heal. Do you want to go back into a situation where you're dealing with somebody who's like, I don't want commitment, or I don't know if I want a relationship, like whatever, you know? Virgo moon, yeah. So, you know, Mercury, it's going retrograde in his moon sign. So I would be curious to see what's happening for him, you know, down the road as we're getting into Sag season and Pisces season. I mean, a lot of Cancers, especially because Saturn rules their 7th house, are having a really difficult time in relationships because Saturn and Uranus are squaring. Some of them want freedom. Some of them, you know, want to be able to have commitment and they're not getting it. I would focus on healing, staying open either in December or spring of next year. There can be a connection, but be careful how much you're open if ultimately you guys don't want the same thing, right? Because to me, it seems like you're focusing more on having like an actual committed, structured relationship. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just give yourself a little bit of time to heal. Getting a healing, soaking, things like that. That's also good with the Temperance card that's coming up. There's going to be a lot of like messy emotions and tears and feelings and things like that that's going to be going on with the Scorpio eclipse at the end of the month. And, you know, the full moon also in opposition to Chiron is a lot of like where individuals are realizing what they need and they're taking space from relationships. So it's uncomfortable. There is a lot of uncomfortable stuff going on right now. Sending you lots of good vibes throughout your breakup. I'm sorry. So now we have got Marsha, and it looked like Marsha was asking questions in regards to work. Sag Sun, Aquarius rising, Virgo moon. Okay, so if you are a Aquarius rising, you have got your moon that is in your 8th house, whole sign, and your Sag Sun is going to be somewhere around your, what, 11th house? Okay, so let's take a look. Looking for career advice. All right, Marsha, this is for you. Y'all, I'm going to scream with these cards. I'm not even kidding you. But some of the same cards keep coming up, and they're getting shuffled. Okay, so this is the order that they came up. Temperance, the Strength card, and the Sun. Okay, they're getting shuffled. These are 3 major arcana cards. So this is like basically screaming at you right now that there is like something very significant happening. Right now, it's really important to give yourself some time because you're waiting on other things to kind of pan out. Okay. Oh, left a corporate job after 30 years. Congratulations. That's a Saturn Transit. Yay. So you completed it. Not many relationships last that long. So the fact that you did it at work is a big deal. Temperance is basically saying you're waiting for the right elements to come together, right? There is a sense of waiting for something to set up right now. If you left a job after 30 years, that's Saturn and Aquarius. You've got Saturn and Aquarius right now, but it's in a square with Uranus, which is dealing with resources, finances, money, fulfillment, feeling like you're getting all that you want and all that you need. So Temperance coming up in the first place is kind of saying like, I had to take a step back. It wasn't working. Something was disjointed. There wasn't enough support. There wasn't room for growth. It wasn't conducive for me having a healthy lifestyle. I was kind of out of whack. Okay, so you've realized that and you've recognized that. So then it takes you to the Strength card, which is basically saying right now you're in a state of going, I can't wrangle things, okay? I can't hold on to things. I can't make things happen. I'm not going to force things to happen. The Strength card allows things to come into its life. The Strength card is also focusing on nurturing, compassion, staying open, like not really letting yourself kind of put something in a chokehold and go like, this is gonna work, because maybe you were realizing you were doing that with your job and it's like that wasn't healthy for you. The Strength is also talking about that this is a period of time that requires a lot of inner strength. Like this is a card that can be kind of tricky because some people will go like, well, is it about, you know, like wrestling the lion or like taming the lion? No, it's about the inner strength, the spiritual strength that's coming through right now, and that you're learning to nurture your own creativity, your own happiness, right? These are two cards that deal with Sun, Leo, anything in regards to happiness, creativity, personal fulfillment. Like in some ways I wonder, are you taking a step back and going, okay, I've done that for 30 years. Now I want to figure out like where my talents really are and like where I can use more of my own personal talents in my professional life? Or do I want to work for myself? Do I want to work independently? Like I'm doing all of this work for other people and other people's stuff, and it's kind of gotten me off track with like my own personal happiness and creative self. So do I take time to kind of figure out what that is and nurture some of those talents so that way I can kind of shine a light on that and find something that really feels happy and joyful and abundant? I can't think of a better way to like follow up the Temperance card than like Strength in the Sun, because it's basically saying like through giving yourself a little bit of time and practicing grace, you're able to realize like that's the true power of giving yourself a period of time and being gentle with yourself and allowing room for creativity or inspiration to grow, for you to nurture some of your creative talents, to realize that you're a lot more actually artistic, creative, than you give yourself credit for. Because this can be like more like practical, logical, going through the motions. Like sometimes this will come up for people who have had to be calculated and putting everything together and everything has to be specific. And then you get to the Strength card in the Sun that's like, actually, no, we just want to feel inspired. We want to see action. We want to have fun. We want to have creativity. And feel like there's something that's actually kind of coming to life. So there can be a period of having to be more gentle with yourself while you're in the process of finding that inspiration to lead you to the Sun card, which is then saying like, yeah, probably sometime come the turn of the summer next year, you're going to find that. It's probably going to be like a process of a year. Okay. So I don't know when you started, but it's saying like right around then, or the solar eclipses, right? Look at where the Sun is in your chart right now. Look at where Leo is in your chart. If you have a lot of prominent Leo placements, are they getting squared? Probably. If you have a Pluto in Leo, or if you have personal planets in Leo, you've got Saturn and Uranus that are doing a number on that. And so the Sun is basically saying that there is something new that's emerging creatively within yourself, within your ego, and something that is going to bring you more happiness and joy and fulfillment. But, it could be something that can be taking place closer to a full moon in Leo. So look for that come the turn of the year. It can be finally up until Leo season that you're going to have next year. And I know there's a Venus retrograde, so there's also going to be a lot of reorganizing what I love, what I value going on next year as well. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful for you. You look familiar. Were you the one who left me a comment and said that you booked a reading for your birthday? It kind of looks like your picture. So if that's the case, I'm sure we have a lot to talk about soon. But very exciting, and I think it would be a really good idea if you have tarot to put these cards out. I think you're already in the Temperance phase. It's like Strength in the Sun. Like if you want to make that your screensaver on your phone, or if you want to put a card out somewhere just as a reminder that it's like following bliss, following creativity, following inspiration. It's a good reminder for you. Start getting up in the morning and doing sun salutations, like spending a little bit of time in the sun every day in the morning and greeting the sun and reminding yourself that, new things are coming into your life right now. Things are heating up. I thought so. Cool. We will talk soon. I'm excited to connect with you. that is all for me this evening, guys. Thank you for spending Saturday with me. I have got a brand new video coming up for you first thing in the morning, all about the full moon in Aries. It's early, but we're going to feel it all week long. I'm also working on some other videos. Like I'm going to put together, I think I'm going to do like a free webinar on the Mars retrograde. Some people are asking me about it, so I'm going to put together a presentation. We have also got I'm doing eclipse webinars on the 9th. So if you guys are interested in that, if you want to take my classes, if you want to join our webinar, if you want to join my members, if you guys want to support, I know it sounds kind of weird, but anybody who supports makes it possible for me to keep creating content. So the reason why I came back on YouTube and the reason why I've been able to put out so much is because members, people who donate for readings, people who want to send donations, people who want to take my classes, you guys make it possible for me to keep doing this. So big thank you to all of you. And I'm excited to see you guys all soon. Angeli says, when should I ask about Jonathan again? When Mercury is coming into a trine with Saturn. So that's your 7th house Lord. So I would say Mercury is coming into a trine with Saturn right around the 19th of October on. Okay? No worries. What's up, Rachel? Oh my goodness, you're having conjunctions with the eclipses too, huh? Actually both of them. One of the eclipses is on my Mars in Scorpio, and the other eclipse is in opposition to my Pluto. So I'm taking it easy in November. That's my plan, taking it easy. I know November's gonna be a wild month. All right, you guys, I will see you all very soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You guys take care.